This is my McLaren 600 LT. And as you can see, it's missing a door, as well as some other key components that make this car a 600 LT. And now when I picked up this car, I knew that I probably would not get it for a really good deal because, well, as you can see, the damage is quite minimal. But I surprised myself and got this thing for well under market value. Now, typically when you see cars crash and people rebuild them, you're expecting them to take a long time to rebuild with a lot of damage. But in my case, I got kind of lucky. And with that being said, we're not only gonna fix this car today, we're gonna fix it in 24 hours. Now, if you remember the first video of me buying this car, you will remember that the door was very badly damaged. In a second, I'm gonna step outside to show you exactly what's happened to that door right now. It got PDR'd, fixed, and we're able to run it on this car again. Aside from that, we have a fresh door card and interior piece, as well as a bunch of carbon fiber from Darwin Pro. So without further ado, let's go ahead, start the timer, and get to work. I'm gonna go ahead and do the first piece before we look at the door. That's one piece down. And here is the door that I thought was not repairable, and well, Val proved me wrong. I spent a lot of money on another door, and well, I'm gonna have to figure out how to sell that door. But right now, Val is going ahead and cleaning up the door. He's gonna wet sand it, get all dialed, and then we're gonna paint this, repair this side over here, and also paint it, as well as paint the back side of the door because it is very badly scratched. We don't want any of this. Obviously, a lot of this stuff is gonna be covered by the door card, but there are gonna be some scratches where when we open it, you're gonna be able to see it. So I want this thing to be perfect. And that's exactly what Val is gonna do. Well, I do the stuff that I know how to do really well. Val is really good on bodywork stuff. I'm always gonna have him in my corner. But as far as other things, we can do that. So with that being said, let's do one more easy thing. Right now, this car is a 600T, not a 600 LT. So I got more badges from eBay I'm gonna throw in. And once we get that done, we can start doing some of the more hard stuff. All right, that looks right. But it's time to go ahead and start with the harder stuff. So Val is working on the door like you saw, but right here is another issue we're having. I don't know if this was caused during the accident or sometime beforehand, but this blade is cracked right here. So we're gonna need to jack up the car, pop this blade off. This bumper is really weird, it's modular. It's like in 5 different pieces. So we gotta pop this piece off, take this piece of the front lip off. The front lip is in 3 pieces. That way Val can go ahead, plastic weld this, repair it, and then paint it. And once that's fixed, we can mount it back on the car, and then put the front lip back. We're gonna need to put this front lift up, that way we can get to it. All right, now the front lift is up, we're able to lift the car. Now, while taking out the fender liner, I realized that you had to take out the front to get to the headlight to then get to the side blade that we needed to take off. And in the front, I found something kind of interesting. Well, I think we found the previous owner. The PDM brands. It was theirs. Look at this. What are these going to?
You know, this is the jet connectors.
It's a what?
It's a airplane connectors.
Really?
I went to college specially for that to work on Boeing 737.
So I basically own a jet then. That's what you're trying to say.
Yes, you are.
Okay, so there's a bolt there. I'm assuming that's the one I'm trying to get to. There's a bolt here, but then there's this monstrosity. How does this even come out? What am I even looking at? Now, if my calculations are correct, we should hear something fall. Yeah. But yeah, this had to be replaced. Like this right here, it doesn't go all the way to the bumper anymore. It'll flap in the wind. So thanks to Darwin Pro, we got a new one of these, we got a new one of these, and a new one of the rear fins as well. Look at that! McLaren. And once that monstrosity of a sound system was out of the car, I was then able to get the front out, the headlight, and then get access to the side blade. Before I gave the side blade to Val to fix, I took off the PPF because he would have had to do that, and I didn't want to waste his time. So as you guys can see, we are 4 hours in. It's not gonna get done today. Today is the 8th. It's not gonna get done today. We're gonna get it done in 24 hours though. That is the goal. And the reason that is because paint takes time to cure and to dry. And sitting there watching the paint dry and having time dwindle down, I don't really count as time towards working on the car. So that means that this will probably get finished, hopefully end of next week, beginning of the week after. We just gotta let the paint cure, and there's time for that because the paint is somewhat soft right after it's sprayed, and we don't wanna be messing with the door and messing with fitment and all that stuff and screwing up Val's beautiful paint job. With that being said, we need to get everything knocked out for Val to get fixed and primed before he leaves today, or else we're gonna be behind schedule. So what that means is I need to take off the PPF on this rear blade, and then Val is going to repair these holes from that one blade getting ripped out. The blade I'm talking about is this blade. You can see I don't have that on this side. So we gotta take this off after we take the PPF off, because it'll be easier to take the PPF off on the car. And then Val is gonna repair this, and then we can tackle the front. There we go. So what do you think?
Carbon is carbon.
Yeah. You think plastic weld or take it home and carbon weld?
I'll take it home and have a carbon resin.
Carbon
Of course.
resin?
Yeah, I'll put it in there. I'm gonna put a block in here. Probably some kind of wooden block in here and clamp it.
And what I noticed when I was doing the PPF, taking it off, this was cracked. So the PPF was hiding it, but the minute I took it off, this was there. So a little bit more work than we were anticipating. And now it's time to tackle the shattered door hinge. This is like the biggest part of this whole rebuild, is this freaking hinge. Now it's very common for these hinges to actually break. And it's because they're made of aluminum. So they always crack when you slam them. This is actually way easier. Val thought I had to take off the fender to do this. Yeah! Look at that!
It's crazy.
Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
We then wanted to test the door on the new hinge just to make sure everything lined up good and that the door didn't have any other damage that PDR didn't notice.
Oh, nope.
Touch it.
It's going to.
Is that adjustment on the hinge or is that adjustment on the...
Just need to move the door slightly away from the fender.
As long as it doesn't hit on that side, then it should be. That's pretty crazy. It's farther than when we started.
I mean, plus or minus some parts. All right, well that is going to end off the night. We are roughly 6 hours into this thing. So 6 hours, got a lot of stuff figured out, got a lot of stuff off. Val is going to take the stuff to his place to get painted, and then he's gonna bring it back. So we will probably ask him how much time he thinks he put into that, and then subtract that from our time. And then once that's all calculated, we put this thing back together. There's really not much else I can do at this point in time. In the meantime, I'll clean the shop up a little bit. A little over a year ago, I gave away my blue C6 Z06, and some of you were sad that I gave it away, and others were sad that I didn't win it. Well, I have good news for you. Your chance to win my C6 Z06 is here, and it's starting to become not here anymore. We are almost to the final week of my C6 Z06 giveaway, so if you want to get entered to win a cammed, loud, beautiful Corvette Z06 plus $5,000 cash, head over to schnatterdays.com. I'm not gonna bore you anymore. You probably already know that I'm giving this car away. So now let's go ahead and get back into the video. Well, it has now been a little over a week later and I am 25 now. I was 24 at the beginning of this video and now I'm 25. And we have some updates. Not only do we have the freshly painted parts from Val, we also have some news on the previous owner. Like we saw earlier, we found the PDM brand jet tags. Well, I made a TikTok on it, said, hey, if you're the previous owner of this car, let me know. And I met one of the previous owners. Someone that knew one of the previous owners of this car hit me up. Hey, I have their phone number. Do you want me to get you in contact? Talked to the previous owner. They were super chill, and they told me they actually have a second key and that they're gonna mail it to me. So not only did we find one of the previous owners, we also got an extra key out of the deal. So that's super cool because if you lose just one key on this car, you have to replace the module and the key, and that's around $10,000. So it's pretty freaking insane. But let's go ahead and start the timer up again because we're about to get to work and finish the car, hopefully today. Now we stopped the timer at a little over 17 hours remaining, but like I mentioned, we're gonna also keep track of Val's hours as well. Val said that man hours not letting it dry was a couple hours, so we're gonna start the timer at 15 hours remaining. So let's hope that we can get the McLaren all done in less than 15 hours, which I think is gonna be pretty simple. We're gonna go ahead and tackle the rear because we have that rear blade, and we're also gonna start mounting some carbon bits as well. My wife is currently soldering the wires on the wiring harness because when the door fell off, they didn't decide to unplug the harness back here. They cut it there. So she's gonna hopefully get all the wires connected and we won't have any more codes when we plug this door back in. We might have to drive the car over to Hurricane Motorsports to have them clear the airbag fault. Not quite sure yet, but enough talking. Let's get to work because the timer's rolling. Now Val repaired this and painted it. So we're gonna need to drill out the holes again. That way we can mount our new Darwin Pro fin. It literally is perfect. Looks exactly like OEM. So this is gonna make the rear end finished. Added some 3M in there for added support. Check it out. Woo-hoo! We got a finished rear end on the 600 LT. Now, small step, but it's a step in the right direction. I did kind of waste some time though. I thought I was being smart by putting that 3M there. You can't have the 3M. If you have any sort of gapping in between the carbon and this side blade, it'll push the carbon bit out and it looks like it's flaring out. It looks ugly. So I had to take the 3M off and redo it, but she's on there now. Now, I gotta announce something real quick. We might be racing this car in the Throttle Throwdown. Now, if you don't know what the Throttle Throwdown is, that is a big racing event in Pennsylvania. Throttle, me, TJ Hunt, Tavarish, and several other people are gonna be racing. There's gonna be a burnout pit, there's gonna be a car show. The original plan was to take the G82. The plan is still to take the G82. However, my tuner can't tune it until Monday, and it is currently Thursday. So the goal is to finish this car this weekend and get it tuned, but if something goes wrong, boost leak, something random, and the car does not perform correctly, we're racing this thing. So if you wanna see either the G82 or the 600 LT racing at the Throttle Throwdown event May 2nd, click the link down below. You can get yourself some tickets. It's gonna be discounted, and you might get to see me there. I'm also gonna have a limited drop. It's gonna be 24 hours long. And yeah, it's gonna be a good time. There's gonna be a lot of cool people and a lot of very quick, cool cars. But there we go. The Darwin Pro side blade is on. If you guys wanna get anything from Darwin Pro, there'll also be a link for them as well. But now it's time to go ahead and tackle the front end. The wife is still working on the wiring harness. There's a couple wires that look the exact same as others, so they might be pinned in correctly. We might have to redo that, but hopefully we get them right. It's a 50-50 shot. But while she's still working on that, I'm gonna go ahead and do the front end. So we gotta take off this blade, get the headlight out, and then put the new blade in, the new blade on that side, and then some more Darwin Pro bits, the under tray, the frunk, and we're almost gonna be done. Now, since this whole thing was timed, I decided not to waste any of it. While my wife was about to finish the harness, I quickly took off the blade on the passenger side that we could not fix so that we could throw on the new one from Carbon Craft Dynamics. But then my brother-in-law showed up to help me mount the door. Look at that. We got a door. This is crazy. This car hasn't had a door on it in so long. And now let's build up this car in reverse order from how we took it apart. My friend Luke stopped by to help me out for a little bit. We put on the side blades, and then while he was doing the radar system, I went ahead and threw on the headlights, side markers, and then we could put the frunk back in. And before I forgot, I wanted to put on the mirror and the two front splitters from Darwin Pro. Again, if you want anything from them, there'll be a link down in the description and a link to JDC, who got me in contact with them. Well, would you look at that? It's starting to become a car again. It's the first time seeing it with a front lip on. Okay, so next step is this. Now, I don't know if this is factory or if this is what the previous owner did. It looks like something the previous owner may have done. Look at this, we got 3 holes. Well, actually, no, it's indented. Wow, OEM is like that. So we have to send in 2 bolts from the top to the under tray. Darwin Pro sent us hardware to nut and bolt it, but I don't like doing nut and bolts with some stuff, and this is one of those things. I would like it to be threaded, so I have a riv nut gun. We're gonna put riv nuts here, here, and here. That way it's super easy for me to do this on my own, put the under tray on, and then thread them in from the top, because if I don't, I do nut and bolt, I would need somebody to be holding the nut at the bottom while I'm threading in the bolt, if that makes sense. And then our bolts will just go like this. Now before we throw this under tray on, we have this. So when the car was in its accident, it bottomed out a little bit. And this bolt I could not get off. I'm going to try, I don't have an extractor tool here. Pretty freaking on there. I'm gonna try a couple things, and if not, I'm just gonna have to grind it off. All right, tripod doesn't go this low, but what I ended up doing was hitting a T20 onto this. I got some catching, so I think this might work. All right, tight lefty-loosey. Woohoo! Now we can reuse that spot. Go ahead, take my bolts with me. Okay, under tray is on. Now it's time to finish up the door and do the fender liners. Now, we're having a small issue. We want to put the window back in the door, but we can't do that correctly without having power to the door. Now, my wife did do the wiring harness, and it looks like it was done correctly, but the window function isn't working. So we think it might be because the airbag's disconnected. So we're gonna connect the airbag, stand away from it, and hopefully it doesn't go off and everything starts to work again.
What is it saying?
Says passenger door internal release fault.
So-
Use mechanical release. And this is where the McLaren started doing McLaren things. Everything was plugged in, the modules, the wiring harness, everything was wired correctly, but there still could have been a break in the wiring harness. But either way, the door would not work. Wouldn't open, window wouldn't work, and the mirror wouldn't work. So we started trying everything. Still got an airbag light. All in typical McLaren fashion, we have electrical issues. Everything else though is basically done. I can't put together that side until we figure out the door situation, because the fender liner, the wheel, all that stuff covers up the harness that we need access to right now. So this side though is done. I just gotta put the wheel on. Look at this. Fender liners, clips, everything. She looks like a car again. The front is also put together. Stereo system is not addressed. So yes, this is rebuilding the car in 24 hours, but certain things are not gonna be messed with because I still have to figure out exactly what I need to complete that, because I did not install that and that is not OEM. Now, there is something that I need to order. One thing is a new wiring harness. This fix is just temporary. I had no idea this harness plugged in there. I thought it was like the whole thing. So the harness only 180 bucks, ordered it. It should be here Tuesday. But this, I didn't realize that this was bent. These little trim pieces. Now, McLaren uses this gray on almost every single 600 LT unless they do a carbon pack. And I'm pretty sure even those carbon pack cars, the trim is still painted that gray. So I probably can find some trim pieces for the door on eBay and don't even have to paint them because they're already gonna be paint matched. So that's sadly something that we're gonna have to deal with until then. All right, so we figured out something. One of the wires right here was cut, either from when the door fell off and the glass broke it or what. But either way, it was cut. This is for the switch up here, at least we're assuming it is, to open and close the door. Now, everything else though we think is wired correctly. There were a couple wires that are the exact same color, but they look spliced in and it doesn't look OEM, so I'm assuming that that could be for the stereo system. So if those ones aren't tapped correctly, it shouldn't really matter because it's all for the stereo system that we're not using anyway. The ones that matched that were important were the airbag ones, and those ones are going to the correct plugs, the airbag and this crash sensor. Now my hypothesis is this. The reason nothing is working on this side is because the harness was cut and the car has a bunch of codes for it. It's like an airbag light. If you don't clear the code, your airbags will not work, even though all airbags are plugged in. So I'm gonna try this. It's just a random OBD thing. And we're gonna see if we can clear it. If not, I'm gonna need to invest in an auto. Says we have a couple misfires, so we're gonna go ahead, clear. I don't even know if this is gonna clear the check engine light. Oh, it did. That's crazy. Engine control module, PCM power input signal. Run diagnostics again.
It won't let you clear the other codes, but it lets you clear misfires.
Yeah. Now, what does this mean? Well, that means that our 2 hours and 48 minutes are gonna run out and we're not gonna have this car completed. We'll have somewhat completed, enough to hopefully have it in the throttle throwdown, but yeah, that sucks. So what I think it is it's gotta be the wiring harness somehow. Maybe those wires that don't look OEM are OEM, and them being swapped is causing an issue with that module that's inside the door. So I think our first step is going to be getting a new wiring harness, which I already have on order. It should be here though 4 or 5 days from now. So that'll be the first thing. We'll swap out the harness. If it starts working, great. If it doesn't, then we'll have to resort to the module. But I have a feeling it could be the harness, so we're gonna try that first. So odd. Well, I know the door card isn't done, but how sick does it look? Oh! Sadly, we burned a lot of hours just messing with the wiring harness and got nowhere. But I think we might have one solution. We're gonna take her for a drive. We're gonna go over to Hurricane Motorsports. They are still open for a limited amount of time. We're gonna go over there, see if they can clear the faults, and hopefully they don't come back. This car is so fun. It's really hard to hear the roof scoop with that window gone, but when we get the window, the roof scoop is gonna sound so sick. And I'm not gonna lie, I did drive this car once without a door, more than just the parking lot, and that's how I figured out that this car will pop around 4,000. Watch. Ah, dang, it didn't do it that time. It does it most of the time. If you shift it at 4,000, like shift from fourth to third, it'll pop and shoot a flame. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably my favorite car, and it's not even 100% finished. We're like 80% there right now, 90. Well, launch control works. So at least we'll have that for the throttle throwdown. So the goal is to clear all the codes that this thing has, and hopefully none come back, which I don't think that's gonna happen.
Do you have an idea of what's being thrown?
So it says ECM, but apparently that's common if the battery is dead, and the battery was dead when I took delivery of it.
A bunch of low voltage codes?
Right, so, and what's happening right now is we hooked up that wiring harness and the module right there. And basically because of that code, I think that whole passenger door doesn't work. So hopefully when we clear these codes, the passenger door works then. It's actually clearing a lot of them. Okay, instrument cluster.
I want to say there was a lot in the instrument cluster. There was like 20, so it cleared 17 of them.
One on the BCM. Security body controller. Okay, if the security body controller is not clearing, that's probably because of that door, which means that the security feature in that module isn't working, which means that module probably isn't working.
It's probably bricked when they cut it.
It might be bricked.
That's a really common thing.
Okay, so I just got off the phone with Remy, and he said that NHRA rule states that you have to have your windows up. Now we're fine, we can put the window in, we're just gonna have to put power to the window module to roll it up and down. But we have one more idea. Since all the codes on the Autel were CAN wires, well, CAN codes, potentially my wife flipped the CAN wires because there are 2 sets of them, and if she flips them again, everything could work. She had a 50-50 shot the first time, so theoretically, if she got it wrong, that means flip them and it'll work. So we're gonna try that too. We're gonna try that first. If that doesn't work, then we'll just manually roll out the window and put it in. That way we can race this car if the G82 does not get done. All right, well the boys confetti bombed me and surprised me for my birthday. That was a couple days ago. So I have confetti all over my freshly rebuilt 600 LT. Life could be worse. But in repayment for having all the confetti everywhere, we are putting in the window. Now my wife did swap out those wires, the CAN wires, and it actually made it worse. The car gave me a steering angle code and a bunch of other stuff. So that makes me think that the module is fine and the module controls more than just the door functions, and there's gotta be a break in the line somewhere else causing it to not let the door functions work. So the new harness should fix that issue, but in the meantime, we need to get this window in so that I can legally race. So we're putting that in. We're just gonna leave it all the way up and call it a day. Probably not all the way up because the window does have to go down and up to seat in the seal, so we'll have to have it lowered probably a little bit and call it good. Now, while we were fitting the window on, I started thinking about the other door that I bought off of eBay and if it had parts on it that we might need. And then I realized something. So, if you watched the first video, I mentioned that I bought a door and I didn't need it, but I have it. I didn't realize that the door I bought had a harness until after we messed with the harness for 6 hours.
No, I knew you had a harness. You swore to me you didn't have a harness.
Then why did you say I was wrong?
Because I'm not going to sit here and argue and say, yes, you do. Because I was not, you made me second guess myself.
So anyway, we're gonna take this harness off this door. We're just originally gonna swap the door, but this paint has pearl in it. My paint is flat, so we can't do that. So we're currently stripping out the harness, but remember that trim piece I said that's not perfect on mine? It's perfect on this one, as long as I can take it off carefully enough. So I'm gonna swap this onto my car, and then nobody will ever know it was wrecked, aside from you. Look at that. And then the new harness was in, and we kept getting the same results. Nothing was working, which meant it's gotta be the wiring harness. However, there was one more thing that I forgot to show Remy that could be the problem.
You plugged it in up there?
Yeah, everything's plugged in.
Yeah, it's not even lighting up.
So I think we figured out the problem.
I can not speak so candidly because it's not me speaking, or it's whoever installed this speaker system is a hack. A hack. I was very confused. One, this is like a Maven plug. I have this in my race car. Like, why is this in the front of a McLaren? They tapped into the main door harness for their signal. I don't even know why. The signal ground, they wanted to tap into the speaker system. I'm not sure. They brought all the power into here. And since they stole the rest of the sound system, the subs, whatever it may be, essentially the circuit was broken. There was no power. And do you know what sucks? Oh, dude, that sucks, is where's that other end of the harness going out? You're kind of screwed because you either need the rest of the sound system to like make it all work, or I need to go ahead and try to download a diagram of McLaren, because this is the door harness, the other end of the door harness that goes into the chassis harness.
Yep.
We could
Wait a
fix
minute,
it.
wait a minute.
We can fix it. Because not only did they add a Maven plug, I knew this was jank. Well, it's not jank. Deutsch connectors are good. But we have 2 Deutsch connectors. Now, theoretically, both ends here, like...
Together?
We can use... Do you have Deutsch connectors? Did I ever leave some behind? Because we're going to have to re-Deutsch connector it, but we need the pins. And we just make a Deutsch connector that reconnects the door harness.
Well, couldn't we just take the Deutsches off of this side and connect them to that side? Connecting those wires? And just reuse the Deutsches?
Possibly.
The wires are the same gauge.
But if they're both male going in, then...
Well, no, you just cut the wires and put them together.
I mean, sure. Yeah. Let's get these off.
Unless something else is wrong.
Something else could very well be wrong. But
Are we, yeah, I mean...
it could catch on fire.
We're just positive that the same wires are going into the same pins, right?
I mean, I feel like for it to work correctly, they have to.
Yeah, that's gotta... I mean, if it matches, it matches. I don't
So you think that?
Wait, Remy, are you ready?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Put the ground on.
Connect the battery and see if we got any light on. Oh!
Oh, I heard door.
I heard door too.
I heard door.
Door too. Feel light? Film.
Film?
You have your phone?
Yeah, she's gone. No.
I heard the door though. Yeah, no.
Nothing. Well, that did not work. Well, it kind of did. It kind of did. So what we did was we disconnected that wire from the stupid stereo system, plugged it back in, so now they're working together again. Same over here. So now the stereo system is completely disconnected from both wiring harnesses on driver's side and passenger side, but that still did not solve the issue. The door still does not work, but my wife was able to do keyless entry with the key right next to the door, and it would open at random, which leads us to believe that it is the module. Now, if you want to see if it was the module, go subscribe to the second channel, Schnatter Nights, because tomorrow I'm taking the car and myself over to Remy's place, and we're gonna borrow his module off of the 720S and see if that works. We're also gonna take this car to Cars and Coffee and a bunch of other stuff, which means I gotta edit this video and get it up on the main channel. So I'm gonna put everything together, and then we're gonna take this car out for a nice, pristine drive. Now that there's a window on, the roof scoop should sound pretty insane. Drop the wife off, get an SD card, that way you can see high quality footage, again, not my phone, and end off this video of rebuilding the McLaren. Sadly, not 24 hours. McLaren gremlins got me, and sadly, wiring harnesses and modules and electrical stuff is actually not a myth. McLarens do have electrical issues. The roof scoop is so loud. It shot a flame. I'm gonna make it do it again. It just shot a flame. There's no way it does that! Bro! That wasn't even a big bang either. That was a little one. I love this car. The cool part is I can see all of those through the window in my rearview mirror. Every time it does it. Ready? This car is my new favorite car. Yes, the yellow M4 will always be the end-all be-all, but this is my new favorite car. I'm saying it now. This is literally an insane driving experience. my passenger door doesn't work. I don't open that thing anyway, unless it's for my wife, when she wants to ride this car. That's the only time I care when it works. We'll get it resolved. Second channel video, Schnatter Nights. Go hit subscribe and be patient for that video. Literally tomorrow we'll be filming that and hopefully fixing this car with Remy's module. But dang. All right, we need some gas. We need to end off this video so I can edit it.
Well, it's official. I now have a supercar with doors that go up,
And it's probably one of the highest spec 600 LTs out there. It feels so unreal that I actually had this car done. Wait, let me rephrase that. Not done, but close to done. Looks done from the outside unless you actually know what's on the inside. All we gotta do is fix this door module, tint this window, tint the windshield because it's not tinted at all. And also, you might notice that some of the panels look off from the rest. And that's because some panels have old PPF on them while others don't have any. Like right here, you can kind of tell this panel has no PPF while this one still does. The PPF has just yellowed and just does not look good, and the white really shows that off. Now, I'm not sure exactly how long I have to wait. I will ask Steck, but once the time has passed for these freshly painted pieces to cure and off-gas correctly, I will be fully PPF in this car again the right way with Steck and CW wraps. And we won't have any more mismatched yellow tinted panels anymore. I know it probably doesn't show that well on camera, but in person, if you really look at it and you have an eye trained for paint, I feel like I've kind of had an eye trained for paint over the course of the last few years, messing with the yellow M4, the G82, and other cars that I can see it and it's hard to not unsee it. But hey, these small little quirks will get solved within the weeks, kind of like how the G82 went. When rebuilding a car, you get the brunt of it done and then you find little small issues to fix along the way. But with that being said, that's gonna be the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and the bell. Head over to schnatterdays.com if you want a chance to win my C6 Z06 plus $5,000 cash. That giveaway is ending super fast and you don't wanna lose your chance. So with that being said, you'll see this car again on the second channel video, Schnatter Nights, or at the Throttle Throwdown. Don't forget to get your tickets. I'll see you guys next time. Drive safe.